Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Nice to see you. Good to be here. Nice to be seen as well. What a day. Sun's out. Just went to like a cheese tasting. Cheese, wine, crackers, friends. Went to like the center of the cheese universe. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. We're also going to talk about Ben Affleck and his cheese. It's really a cheese-centric program, which I'm very happy to do today because there's one thing I love more than talking to people, which I don't really love, to be honest with you. So I just started the podcast with a lie. I'm not a big fan of talking to people. But if there's one thing I love, it's
that whole
cheese.
Communication piece is just a bitch.
Welcome to the show. My name is Dean. That is Lachlan Cross, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton.
It is kind of funny how many people in broadcasting are antisocial.
Yeah. Well, that's why they get behind microphones, right?
Funny.
Like that's Lachlan Cross, broadcaster, professional. That's Ryan Lindley. He is from the Sheeple Shepherd podcast, as well as the Linz Report, at Ryan Lindley on Twitter. I'm Dean. Radio people. I mean, we talked about radio even twice this week. I think it was a big week for us talking about radio. Yeah. But radio people, generally speaking, are morons. Incredibly antisocial, which is why they curate this incredible personality behind a microphone that no one can touch, right? That's the whole idea. You get in a studio, you can be something to everybody, then you go home and you're just miserable or you're a drunk. One of the two. Maybe both. I don't know. That's what the industry
I'm not
is.
a miserable drunk. I'm a drunk, but I gotta.
I told you.
Guess what?
No. Yeah, exactly. Dude, you missed out today because you're in the wrong.
Can I move my camera?
Yeah. You can move your camera. You can do whatever.
Okay, hang on here.
Well, I don't know if you can.
Your boss.
You're allowed to move your camera.
You can do whatever you like.
What are we doing? What are you doing?
Where are we going?
What are you doing here?
You put a fridge up there.
To the left of me.
Yeah,
hang on.
Beer fridge? You want us to look at your beer fridge? Is that the deal?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
That's my beer fridge. It just showed up.
It's like a grandma at a wedding with a cell phone for camera.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some cool ones in there.
Look at you.
You know what? Listen, we moved, and this has been interesting and stressful, and moving is stressful and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that we're here, and it's a change of lifestyle for my wife and I. But
you have a beer fridge next to your desk,
and I'm more excited about the beer fridge than anything else in my life right now. And I know that probably I've never had one. It probably has. I'm gonna have a fucking beer right now.
I have. Ever since I moved down here, I actually have one right across from me now too. It's
get a beer too.
Okay,
I'll get a beer and you get a beer.
Let's do it. Let's do it right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys just in their man caves getting beers to start the program. I might as well tee up what we're talking about. Obviously, cheese, because we had a very cheesy day. We'll talk about Batman's cheese.
Shit, it's cold,
we're going to talk about the Emergency Act inquiry, which is going on. Seems to me Ottawa police are fucking useless, and they're mostly all anti-vaxxers. Who'd have thought that? Also, we'll have a little bit of a laugh today about a couple of other things, not limited to anything other than just having a good time and reflecting really what's going on in this world. And what's really going on now is Lachlan's pimping his new place. The only reason why he loves that house is he's got a beer fridge right next to his desk.
Don't tell my
Ryan
wife.
Lindley,
She's very excited about the new couch and shit.
What do you mean? Well, don't tell your wife. She knows you have, like, you're a 52-year-old man. You got a fridge next to your desk. You put
she was
beer
in there.
She was there. She was there.
I
like
know.
20 minutes ago.
I don't want her to know that that's the most exciting thing about my move.
It's so true, though, for guys. We're so fucking stupid. If we can create a small space within a beautiful, big new house that just has the stuff that we need to eat, drink, and a bathroom for us to take
TV,
a shit and piss.
Shitter.
Oh, dude, yeah, you've got it made in the shit.
Yep. I'm with
bought
you.
This beautiful new house, and you're literally going to confine yourself to like 200 square feet. Yeah, exactly. Just because it's got your stuff, right? That's where my stuff is.
I'm going to put a record player up here soon.
Yeah, as you should. Anyway, I want to talk about the cheese because we went to Cheese Boutique today. This guy right here in the middle, his name is Afrim Pristine. I have never in my life seen a dude fawn over another dude the way that Ryan Lindley fawned over the cheese guy today from Cheese Boutique. Dude, It was unbelievable. It was embarrassing, is what it was.
Mhm.
I was watching Linz literally follow this guy around like a puppy dog, right? And so we get there, and like these guys, we've been trying to figure out a way for us to go to this place because this is like literally the center of the cheese universe. And I'll get into that in a second.
Yeah,
but they got a butcher shop. They've got 1,000-year-old cheese. They got
they
got
have the whole
200-year-old. Yeah, dude, they got a whole street of cheeses. And like a conga line of like ants, people walking cheese wheels up and down the street. And you walk in and there's like this balsamic vinegar. What was it, like a 150-year-old balsamic? $2,500.
$2,500 right at the front door.
Yeah. Like it's just a world you don't understand. It's the best of everything from different parts of the world. As this family grew up, the Pristine family, they invent this place called Cheese Boutique, right? It just should be Bloor West Village. It was like back in the day when all the people used like the butcher came from Poland, the cheese guy came from like Turkey, and everybody just kind of got together. And so anyway, this thing has grown over the span of a little while, and they have the best of all the cheeses. And we get there, and Ryan is shaking. He's vibrating. He's so fucking excited. He's like, I even.
I did. I had notes.
He's like, I watched like 4 hours of television last night about this guy.
I wrote
a whole bunch of notes. He gets out all the notes about the cheese guy, the different cheeses he's got, different shows he's been on. And then I said to Ryan, and this is great, I'm like, dude, you're going to take the lead today. I pulled him outside. I go, you're going to take the lead because it was a big filming day. We recorded a bunch of stuff. You're going to take the lead today. And he's like, yeah, is that okay? He's so kind about it too. He's like, is that okay? Do you mind? I'm like, no, this is your wheelhouse. You're the food guy at deanblundell.com, and you'll be the new food guy at a new place too. And so this is really important. He goes, oh, thank God, because I did like 6 hours of research for this.
I did last night. We had it was hilarious. So I brought my wife and daughter with us today to run cameras because we needed extra hands. They did a great job, absolutely. And last night they were watching me. Like I was sitting at the island in the kitchen with the laptop open. I've got my phone doing research. I got things playing on YouTube. I'm writing like furious notes, telling them to shut the fuck up. I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to do some homework. And it was worth it. What a fucking day. We spent like 4 or 5 hours there today, and it felt like 20 minutes. It was such a good time.
Dude, they own a section of Toronto. The Cheese Boutique owns a section of Toronto. So this is like one of the little areas that they own. They own like 3 or 4 buildings right across from each other. And the guy that owns it, his family's owned it for a long time. He's taken it. It's incredible. He's taken it over. Yeah. This guy is the only in the entire country Cheesemaster. The
Maître
only.
Fromager is what he's called.
What's it called? How do you say that again?
Maître Fromager.
Fromager. There's 50 in the world. Now, what does that mean? Great question. The 50 Cheesemasters on planet Earth, guys who are like the best at tasting, making, identifying, curating, taking care of cheeses around the world. They are known as the Cheese Mafia.
I knew it.
It's like a Illuminati. Remember, like
yes,
we've got pictures of it. You'll see it. We're putting a whole production together for it, but you'll see in the documentary that we're going to show of Cheese Documentary, the Cheesementary.
Cheesementary.
We actually saw his certificate that he was issued in Paris, France, and then the Cheese Mafia came here, and it's got a big triangle. It looks like the Illuminati. Yeah, it's got like it looks like the Greek style writing. It's like so official, and it's been around for ages,
hundreds of years.
They knight
hundreds.
You. They knight you. He was telling us
they actually with a fucking sword, a cheese sword, a real one.
Now who
That's
said
him.
Who said he didn't trust the cheese guys?
I trust this guy more than I trust anybody else in the world. You should have been there for the tour. He takes us through the curd section. He's got a billion, dude, you'd love it. He's got a billion mustards. Fat guy spread for miles from a million different countries. You would totally
I love the mustard. I love the mustards.
Then he's got the only butcher shop where they don't fan cool and they age is like rotting meat, but they say this is our rotting meat because you got to age beef, and they've got like different. They had a steak there for $180. One steak this big. 180 Japanese Wagyu. Dude, it's the best of the best in the world.
So
but
what is Wagyu? Is that an age thing too?
It's like they stick cows in the ground and stuff. They put cows in the ground.
It's how they raise a cow in Japan. It's under strict ways, and it's marbled.
It's not allowed to do anything.
It's just
it's like you would have died. Venison, or not venison?
No,
veal,
not at all.
Like veal.
A little bit, but a little more involved than that. Just Google I've
had it.
Japanese Wagyu steak, and you'll see the difference. It's amazing.
Well, you see the difference in how they treat the animals. They treat the Wagyu beef like royalty. They treat like sirloin beef like cattle. This is just the same thing, right? They feed them a bunch of fat, so they get
it's a hand job. That's noon every day.
From the Japanese owners. They're like,
they're the only male cows that get milked. Yes,
finger in the bum.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good. We tried cheeses that you could taste in the cheese what the cow ate for a diet. Like that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah,
like
dude, that's unbelievable.
Yeah,
like we had a cheese that was like from this area of PEI where everybody eats potatoes. What did it taste like? Delicious potatoes. The cheese. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. Dude,
it was wild.
You have to get to know a cheese mafia guy. Like I feel like I'm in the cheese world now, big time. Like I feel like I got a guy on the inside of the world of cheeses. And
I feel safer here.
Well, you feel
safer on the outside. I do. I know.
Just be lucky that you know us.
You guys got a little.
You ever need a cheese
syndrome here? I think.
No, we don't. Here. No, we know a guy at the top of the cheese wheel. No, actually, we know a guy at the very top of the cheese wheel in the world. Afrim Pristine Cheese Boutique. If you need anything, you need us to take care of something for you. Someone's pissing you off. I'll call Afrim the cheese guy.
You need a good Parmesan Reggiano.
Guess what that cheese is going to taste like? Lachlan.
Yeah. Actually, if my wife is listening, bring that board down and we'll show you what we came home with. Like he sent us home with cool stuff and wine and an autographed copy of his book. He's an author.
So good.
Do you want me to? I drank today.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
I did.
Dean had alcohol today.
I did. Yep. Had a couple sips of, and because you had to, right? You can't. So I haven't.
But hold on,
5 years.
Hold on. Let's say this.
Yeah.
Because you keep track of your sobriety, right?
Yeah. 5 years.
This is not
drinking.
No. Okay.
No, but I don't care.
I'll be okay with it. I think everyone listening will be okay with it. You had a little bit of wine paired with your cheese. No one is holding that against you. If that was something
I don't
that
care.
was sticking in your craw.
No, I don't care. No, but here's the thing: is that he opens up, so he's got his own
triple
wine.
Vodkas. That's different.
Yeah.
7 C's before breakfast. That's drinking. Having a sip of wine to pair it with a chocolate and a perfect cheese. That's not drinking. That's just
what cheese goes with this Jack Daniels that was under the seat of my car?
You know what this cheese you go great with? A Ryan Coke. Hey, this is a nice Swiss Gruyere. Someone make me a Black Russian. Yeah, no, it wasn't like that. It was just like, so he's got his own wine. It's called Pristine Curve, I think.
Yeah, if Ashley can bring me the bottle and the board, I'll get it. But yeah, it's out here at Stratus, Niagara on the Lake.
Made by Stratus, Niagara on the Lake. He loves Niagara on the Lake wine. So he pulls this out and he's got this huge charcuterie board. And I'm like, let's fucking eat this shit. But it wasn't even, you know how someone puts out a board and everybody just demolishes it? He took us through like an education. This is what you would love. See, you would totally fucking dig this.
I would totally love
Here's a cheese, eat it with this, and then drink that. And you're like, bang, bang, bang. And you're like, oh my fucking God, all flavors change.
I love it when people are fanatics or fans of something to the point, like, you know what I mean? I love it when somebody loves something.
Oh, and
you can get behind it.
You should have little fig jam. You got a brie. You got some blue cheese there. You had a pizza made with like fresh sandwich meats, bagel chips that you make in house. Look at the cheeses, dude. You can't fucking say no to that.
No, I can't do blue cheese though. I've never been able to do blue cheese.
I tried it and I couldn't do it.
Oh yeah, dude, and his body language is terrible. So that blue cheese is probably worth $1 billion. And he opens it up and he gives it to Ryan. This was Ryan's face.
That's the wine.
I've never gotten the blue cheese.
It's so good on a steak. Blue cheese on a steak. Have you not had blue cheese on a steak?
No, I won't do it.
Oh well, then you don't have any taste buds. You probably would just go there and have a club.
I keep getting called out for that. That I don't like that. It's actually on the list of people that I don't trust
down here.
People who like blue cheese.
People who like blue cheese is on the list of people you don't trust.
I got a long list.
I gotta tell you, man. I tried.
Cats.
I went in with an open mind when I sat down and I saw it on the board, and I actually my ass started sweating when I saw it. I went, oh my god, I'm gonna have to.
Because you're so violently opposed to blue cheese.
No, it's not violently opposed.
Most refined palates love blue cheese, so I think you're full of shit. Like this came out the other day, and Locke sent it to me, and I'm like, Ryan would totally drink this, but then he would lie about it, right? Arby's launching a bourbon that's smoked like its meat is smoked.
You know what we did today? Like we enjoyed the finer things in life, and you got to bring this shit in.
Yes.
Now, why you got to bring
this? Here's my point: is that you're sort of a fair weather foodie. Like you come across as a dude that's like, I only like the finer things in life, and you're so pedestrian for eating at Arby's. But here's the thing: this tastes like Arby's, but it's full of alcohol because it's a fucking bourbon that's smoked the same way their meat's smoked. You would
out the tailpipe of an '87 Chevy truck, or is that where they smoke it?
No, you hypocrite! You would drink that in a heartbeat.
Gross.
You would drink Arby's. No, there's no. Fucking gross. Of course you would, because
it's on my Christmas list.
Again, I would try it. Like I said, I tried the blue cheese today, and if I don't like it, I don't like it. Nah, that blue cheese block, I couldn't do it. I can't. I thought maybe
you lied to the guy then, because you're like, this is really good.
No, I did not. I have tape of it. You can't even lie about it. It's funny. I have it on tape. I said I don't hate it. I just don't like it.
You know what it is about blue cheese for me? It's the
it's like this, Locke.
It's like a metal taste.
He goes,
in your mouth.
This is delicious, and then he goes like this. Oh.
I did not say it was delicious at any point in time.
Oh,
I did.
Like, dude, hey, do you want to see Ben Affleck's provolone?
Yeah, Batman's cheese.
Provolone? So hold on, you guys keep saying Batman's cheese. He's got cheese. It's Ben's cheese. What the fuck do you mean?
Okay, Ben Affleck plays Batman, right?
I know that, but why is this his cheese? Is it
he owns it?
He owns it. He
owns it.
And they store it there. And sent it to. Okay.
They age it in their cheese vault for him.
Too much fucking money
when you buy a $50,000, 800-pound
cheese
log of cheese that you have to hang from the roof. That is Ben Affleck's cheese. Right there.
It's over 8 feet tall and 800 pounds. And it was about 50 grand. He said the room we're standing in here, Locke. This room was the size of like a wine cellar in your basement, kind of just cold storage. And he said the product that was in there was worth about $1.5 million. It was insane.
Jesus.
It was loaded.
So Ben knows about the cheese mafia and calls them and says,
"Let me take you through it. Let me take you through the Batman's cheese." So this guy's a big fan of Batman. Afrim, huge fan of him. He's got bat signals. Batman, everyone's his favorite superhero. He's the coolest guy you'll ever meet. Cheese Mafia, Cheesemaster, Batman enthusiast, super kind guy. We're going to a Raptor game in the next couple of weeks. Long story short. So Ben Affleck tries a certain cheese. Apparently, his person was like, Ben's like, I got to have all this cheese. I got to have all that cheese. And he's like, where'd you get it? He's like, Cheese Boutique. It's like, call him. I want all of it. So they're like, okay, we can do it. How about we make you an 800-pound cheese log, beer number 2 for Lachlan Cross? Got a beer fridge right there. Life is perfect.
Why not?
He's like, how about I get you a big? The most I can get you is like 800 pounds. And then he says to him, but you can't have it for 15 years. He's only got 8 left. So Ben Affleck isn't going to collect this cheese, which is hanging at the Cheese Boutique. Sorry, Cheese Boutique, not the cheese, because it needs to age for 8 more years. Yeah, that's how fucking seriously this guy takes.
It's been there for 7 years so far.
Yeah,
wild, just wild.
How messed up is that?
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Like, you love cheese when you're doing shit like that, right?
Yeah,
no kidding.
Doesn't even matter about money. And Ben Affleck, may I remind everybody, and his wife J-Lo, more rings than the Maple Leafs in the last 30 years.
Yeah. Yep, it's true.
They've been married how many times each now?
6.
6.
Yeah, it was a trip.
I am Team Bennifer though. I'm cheering for them. I don't know why. I so desperately. I get caught up in certain in certain Hollywood couplings and certain Hollywood like superstars for odd reasons. Like I'm Team Britney. I don't know why. I cheer for that girl. I am so hoping that this works out for the two of them.
Me too.
I truly do.
You know what? If there's something that Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez both deserve, it's for
each other.
I was just gonna say each other.
Do you remember my favorite picture in the last 20 years?
Yeah.
It's not even of me. It's not nude. It's married to Jen Garner, Ben Affleck. Remember that picture?
Yeah, at the Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah, just outside. Yeah, I feel that.
There's a lot going on there, right? Like he's got the man
That's
boobs.
him waiting for his cheese. That's what that is. That's like I'm waiting for my provolone, Ben Affleck. Also, I
wonder if that's where he goes in his head. Where he goes in his head during these domestic disputes.
That's one of the greatest. It's one of the greatest memes ever.
My cheese will never leave me.
It gets used for everything.
My cheese will never divorce me until
the cheese will never hurt me. Yeah, the cheese won't hurt me.
The cheese won't force me to go to rehab.
I'd rather share this bottle. I'd rather share this case of wine with that cheese than this woman.
By the way, can I give a shout out for The Way Back? Have you guys seen that movie?
No.
Oh, Dean, fuck. You got to watch that movie.
What? Way Back with Ben Affleck?
Yeah, no. You need to watch that this weekend. For like a number of reasons.
Why?
You would seriously relate with that movie. It's one of his best movies. Honestly, I swear to God.
Is it because he was a crazy alcoholic?
It's a recovery story. Yes.
I was just going to say, it's a lot of pausing.
But no.
Hold it. You want me to watch a Ben Affleck movie because he played an alcoholic in a movie and I used to drink way too much? Is that what you're saying? Yes.
Dude, no. Kind of.
Okay. Just say it. You gotta watch The Way Back because he's a fucking alky like you, bud. Just say it.
No, it's no. You're one of the more successful recovery stories I know of, and it's a recovery story. It's a really touching story, and he fucking nails it. It's a really well done movie. I'm surprised that more people don't talk about that movie. It's a great flick. Yeah. It really is. Yeah.
I'll watch it. It's funny because when I went in today and we were sitting there around drinking wine, as I had a couple of sips, I think I had 3 or 4 sips because I had to have it with the food, right? You got to taste it and then you got to pair it. So you touch it to your lips and I'm like, there you are, old friend. I was like,
hi, Dean.
Hello, you delicious son of a bitch. How you doing right now? I remember me. I remember you. Oochie-coochie-goo.
There was a glint in his eye.
And I was looking at Ashley. Yeah, I was looking at Lynn's wife, Ashley, and she's like, okay. I'm like, I don't know. We'll find out in the next 20 minutes. I have no idea. But no, I had zero desire to drink, which is interesting because I talk to people that drink a lot. Yeah, and zero. I still I didn't, and it's funny because I used to really
hard pressed not to open a beer,
have a good day drink
in the car in the morning.
The only thing stopping him is the law.
Yeah. Well, sometimes not even that.
If I was comfortable having a roadie on the way into work, I would probably drink in the Subaru at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Are you going to do that because you're getting a scooter because you just moved into a new house? It's like 10 minutes away from work.
Yeah.
You should get a cup holder for your scooter or like one of those water bottles and just, on your way into work, just give a little.
There's a workaround.
Coors Light, little Bud Light, maybe some Keats, Sapporo.
Can't get a DUI on a bike.
Yeah,
we found out that Bert Kreischer, who is a legendary drinker, he's a comic. He's the shirt off guy. He's coming to town. So the locker room unofficially presented his show today. And he's doing the Jube in March. I think it's the 3rd.
Yeah, how are you getting away with that, by the way?
I don't know. We just do things sometimes until we get in trouble and then we apologize.
He has no idea that they're promoting this show.
That's, by the way, that's old school radio right there. Yeah. It's where you just take something over publicly and no one knows anything about it, but you pissed all over it. So whatever, it's yours now. Anyway, continue.
So anyway, what What show is better to promote Bert Kreischer in Canada? What radio show? Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank
in town for sure. Across the for sure.
Country. Yes. There's a case to be made. We should be presenting the Canadian tour.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Bert Kreischer coming to town, and we were looking for a clip to play. Mm-hmm. And there's a speech he does about how he'll never quit drinking. And it's so fucking brilliant. It's just you can just hear the passion in his voice he has for being an alcoholic.
It's the love, how much he loves it. It was like a PSA.
Yes,
for alcoholics is what it is.
To stay alcoholic,
and to stay stay the course.
Like 2 minutes long.
Listen, I've said this 1,000 times. Like I'm one of those guys that, like, you know, you drank too much, you were in a bad place, so you hit AA because that's what everybody told you to do. You do, like, you know, as much AA as you can in a year, and I'm like, whew, that was a lot. And then at the same time, counseling and all that other stuff. But I know a bunch of guys that I used to drink with all the time that are happy as larks, just being total fucking piss tanks. Like, love it. And
you're sitting with two of them right now.
Yeah. And like two of them will come up to me and go, I hope you don't mind. I still love getting drunk almost every day. And I'm like, bud, you're the happiest guy. I know it works for you. Continue getting as fucked up as you possibly can. I will drive you anywhere. It just doesn't work for me anymore. Right. Like that was it. Yeah. And so when guys like Bert Kreischer or you pimp your alcoholism, I'm like, that's a way of life for that guy. Don't anybody get in his way. He's a happy guy. You have never let me down. You're always on time. You're a wonderful human being. You've always got a smile on your face. You're a triggered fuck sometimes. I love that too. There's so many different parts. It's like a kaleidoscope of alcoholism. But at the same time, you put rules in place for yourself where you're not having 4 or 5 40 proof a night. You're having 4 or 5, 6 beers. It's 4.5%. It's Bud Light. It's like a canoe fucking close to water, right? Like it's the same thing. It's all of it is the way that you cope and what you do. And so today when I was having a cocktail, when I was having like literally 4 sips of wine,
you could feel it though.
Like, no, not at all. I was sitting there going, I mean, give it a go again.
Oh yeah.
Sorry to let you down, Blaine.
Fella there. And then there's Blaine. Dean inspired me to trade alcohol for pot, and it's going great. Blaine, don't stop. Keep it up. There's all kinds of ways that you can make your life super happy. Like I smoke cannabis the night before I go to bed. I also know people are like, you can't be sober if you smoke cannabis. I'm like, hey, how about this one? Go fuck yourself. I do what's best for me, and I'm a pretty happy guy.
We were in a chuckle.
He's just getting off the bus for a little bit here.
Been sober for 5 years post.
No,
there?
I said I haven't had a drink. I changed it this year. Not sober. Haven't had a drink.
And then I was like, yeah. The funny thing about that is he's baked every night.
No, not every night. Just like 3 or 4 nights, and not baked. It's like 10 o'clock. I'll smoke a huge joint, or I'll go down and hit a bong. Which is tremendous. I mean, everybody fucking does their life their own way, right?
Yep.
And it literally works for me. And I always 2 melatonin, 5 milligram sublingual. I go to sleep faster and better than I ever have in my life for 3 years now. Cannabis at night, 2 melatonin, big drink of water. I'll lay there. Then I do my meditation. And you see me 8 hours later, and I am bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, full of love, full of hope, full of excitement, full of piss and vinegar. My mouth works, my heart works, my head works. Yeah,
we're all hungover, and you're annoying as fuck.
That's
crazy.
right.
You know what? Though?
That's the other thing. Never fucking hungover, so you can eat it too.
Can I say this about any sort of substance issues that anybody has? I think a lot of times what people do is they put obstacles in front of them, or the way they live their lives, they've decided that it's an issue, and a lot of times it's external, it's outside influence, right?
Yeah.
And if you're living in an environment where you're constantly told about your deficiencies and the things that you're doing wrong, that's a hard way to live, right? If you wake up miserable because of the situation you're in, whether it's whether you're drinking too much or you're not working out enough or you're with somebody you shouldn't be with or you're surrounded by people that are very, very negative, you're probably going to seek help or you're going to look for alternatives, right? And I think a lot of times it takes time for people to figure out what it is that's causing them this angst or whatever. And all I'm saying is, regardless of whatever your thing is, like if you're getting up and you're depressed or you got massive anxiety or you can't sleep or you can't get motivated or whatever it is, take a good look at the things that are happening around you. It might not be as simple as the number of drinks you're having, or it might be who you're fucking sleeping next to. It could be where you're working. It could be
past resentment, childhood,
multiple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm not saying that this isn't always a problem. I'm saying figure out what that problem is. And if you're drinking yourself stupid every night and waking up and you're wildly depressed every day, it might be this, right? It could be that,
or this is just exacerbating something else. Yeah.
But we live in a world where I think we're constantly put in this sort of, or we're told we have to learn to cope with what, and sometimes I just think that's the wrong message. I think, you know what? Like, fuck. Sometimes it's okay to go into work and tell your fucking boss that that's it. You fucking had enough and you're quitting, and go find something you love. Sometimes it's okay to sit that fucking woman you're living with or the man you're living with and tell them, you're fucking not good for me. I'm not healthy around you. Yeah. I need to move. You need to. Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. And the quick fix is attempt to try to quit drinking, right? We're drinking because we hate the person we live with. We're drinking because we hate our jobs. Yep. We're drinking because our kids are assholes. We're doing all these things, right? You might not have a drinking problem. You might have an association fucking problem. A pandemic, right? Like a lot of us had issues in the pandemic.
Yeah, pandemic, alcohol-related illnesses, hospitalizations, transplants, emergency room visits rose by 74%.
Yeah,
during the pandemic over the 2-year period, so like 30 and then 40 or something like that, because people
in the year 2020, the LCBO, which is the Liquor Board of Ontario, had $6.1 billion in sales just for one province alone. $6.1 billion.
Which was like double the year before, right? Because everybody's like, "Fuck it, I'm at home and I'm drinking." And you know, it's
we drank more than you did in Alberta, though. Per capita.
It would be really interesting to get like a.
I know we did. Yeah, I think we're drinking like quite a few liters more of booze in Alberta than every other province.
We got to get that breakdown.
We fucking pound booze. You can find it.
I'm going to Google that.
Anyway, figure that out. My point being is sometimes it's not the weed. Sometimes it's not the chocolate bars. Sometimes it's not the figure out what it is.
No, it never is. That's the thing is that, fortunate enough that I get a chance to work with a bunch of different people, work with them, just talk to guys that want to take their life seriously. And a lot of people, because I haven't drank for 5 years, they're like, well, how do you, and, they see you somewhat, salient, and they see you kind of doing things, and they see you happy, and they're like, fuck, how do you do that? How do you get happy? And that's really the key, right? If you're a happy person, you're a drinker, you're a happy person who drinks. Whether you drink too much or not, that is 100% up to you. The one thing that I will say to people is that nobody has a drinking problem. Yes, there are diseases. These are just my experiences. I get that stuff. But what people have is they have an avoidance issue, right? They have a numbing problem. And alcohol is fucking unbelievable for that. Like if it's instant. It's like right away. One beer and you're like, your shoulders come down, you get the warm feeling in your chest. A lot of it is psychosomatic before you actually start drinking, before that alcohol makes its way to your blood-brain barrier, because your liver's like, whoa, too much, fella or lady. And then that's what makes us crazy. And in essence, there is a scientific reason for the fact that we drink too much. And it's because our brains are telling us we're fine because we're feeding alcohol to our brains. So we're not producing the hormones, dopamine, serotonin that tells your body to be happy, when to sleep, when to get up. Your sleep cycles are all fucked up. And over time, those things, as alcohol does to your brain, does to your emotions and your nervous system. There's literally science behind it. It's not just the fact that you're some fucking cretin who can't stop drinking, and if you don't get into the rooms of AA, you're going to fucking die and lose everything.
Right.
There are a lot of very successful people that drink way too much that are just unhappy people. So when anybody says to me, you've got a drinking problem, or, what's the secret? How do you get out of that? And it's like, dude, you got to just decide if you want to be happy. And if you want to be happy, you're not going to put something in your way that's going to enable you to learn, invest in yourself, understand what your problem is, why you want to avoid life, why you want to stop drinking. In that scenario, everybody's the same, right? Every single person. And it really comes down to one thing and one thing only. Are you happy or are you unhappy? Are you doing something to yourself that prevents you from being a happy person, living a great life, that takes you away from family, that takes you away from friends? Is that a barrier for you in your life? And if so, you got to remove it, because there's no way you can get better at life, no way you can understand past resentment, no way that you can be fruitful in any kind of psychotherapy where you're getting to the bottom of those issues that you're talking about if you're using substances. So for me, it was like 2 years. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do anything. And it sucked ass. It was like the worst. Because I was like, I can't do anything fun, right? Well, I ignored the fact that I could go whitewater rafting anytime I wanted. I ignored the fact that I could go and hang out with my kids. My values were over here. So once I decided to get my life straight, get my values in order, those things became more important to me. The other stuff that took me away from it became less important to me. But I had to get the bottom of what it is that my issue was, right? My issue was familial. My issue was I didn't have tools. My other issue was it was famous radio guy at 28. Everybody gave me all the money. I could pay to not be a better person and never invest in myself, be humble, any of those things. So
pay to put it off.
You get paid to put off life, right? So that's why you see so many people like Ben Affleck who has been to rehab. I don't know. And Matthew Perry's story, again, this is Ben Affleck. That was him in the moment. Matthew Perry's story. I don't know if you read it this week. Guy spent $9 million trying to get sober and he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
He had a 2% chance to live. And the reason why he had a 2% chance to live was because he just couldn't deal with fucking conversations. You couldn't have a conversation with someone without feeling uncomfortable or feeling he was less of a person, all those things. But listen, if you're a happy individual and you love to drink, keep fucking drinking. I don't care. Nobody else does. If you're responsible, good to your family, stop being fucking worried about it and go for it.
Yeah. And again, I think find out if you're not happy, then figure out what it is. And it might not be a simple solution. We had somebody that was on this podcast on a fairly regular basis that was always talking about his issue with booze. And every time he spoke, I just wanted to just reach through the fucking screen and shake the kid. Like, it's not the booze, man. You just haven't figured out what your fucking problem is. Like, I mean, the booze isn't helping, and it's a crutch, and it's an issue. But you've put so much weight on this booze thing that you're ignoring what your real fucking problems are.
Yeah, it's an easy excuse, right? It's an easy scapegoat that you can lay it on.
You can't help that person.
They drink because they don't want to deal with that problem. They want to forget about what that problem might be, and they can't identify what that problem is. And then if they do it over a long period of time, and this is the fucking great part about alcohol, it makes you miserable because your body doesn't produce the natural hormones that make you happy, that help you sleep, all those things. So you literally cruise towards a breakdown over a series of drinks, as opposed to going, hey, fuck, gig's up. There's something going on in here and I can't figure it out. Maybe it's from my childhood. Maybe it's the way I perceive life. I need to go get an objective opinion on how to live, right? How to be a better person, all those things. And the guy that you're talking about, Bonzi, is that classic example of someone who really wants to be well and goes in spurts and kind of always falls back into it because the one thing he didn't do is deal with the foundational issue of why he feels like he doesn't need to be here or has to be known.
That's what he has to figure out, and he's got to do it on his own, right? That's what's hard to watch. And Ben Affleck, I'm a big fan of Ben Affleck. Are you picking up on that? Yeah, not only that, I want to try his cheese. Ben Affleck was on Howard Stern and had a very famous. This is also when you hear Ben talk about his rehab, it's very interesting, and there's not a lot of correlation. That's part of the reason why Dean, because I think he's a success story on the recovery side of things, and he has a very wildly different take on how to get sober and how he got sober, and he has a very controversial 3 or 4 minute clip from Howard Stern. If you go look it up, and he talks about rehab and how it was just fucking pointless to a point. And then there was a break for him, and he just wanted to be a better person for his kids. And until he figured that out, he figured out what his thing was, he could have spent and gone to the most expensive places and done whatever he could. He wasn't going to get sober.
Mm-hmm. Like Buddy from Friends, like you say, $9 million Matthew Perry spent on trying to just threw money at it, and
he was fucking hard. He was pills, dude. He went deep. Matthew Perry,
because of his drug. It was opioids and it was alcohol, right? And he said he drew the line at heroin, Matthew Perry, but it was like opium and alcohol. And I think it was 2 years ago. Was it 3 years ago? I read the Vanity Fair piece that he did, and it was fascinating. It was 2 years ago. His colon ruptured. He had an abscess in his colon because of all the pill use. Apparently, it was from opioids. And doctors came around. They're like, he's green, yellow, orange, gray. He was a billion different colors. He was all septic. He was going to die. Like that's how alcoholics and opioid addicts generally die. Specifically, if you mix in alcohol, if it's not instant, right? And they're like, you got a 2% chance, dude. Like, we don't expect you to live through the night. And he made it, and he wrote his memoirs, and he's still afraid of relapsing. That's the kind of power that has over individuals. If it has caused you the kind of pain that has caused guys like him, guys like Ben Affleck. And it's not just guys. There's so many people out there, but guys, generally speaking, never talk about not having tools. They want to be seen as like, hey, listen, I know everything. I'm good.
All is well.
All's fine. Yeah, you can follow me. Dude, that vulnerability piece is so important for so many people. And when you're those guys, it's an even bigger deal to go, I need help. Well, somebody help me.
I think there's even another sort of thread we can pull on with this conversation.
Holy shit, I didn't read this part. Hang on. Matthew Perry was taking 55 Vikes a day during Friends at one point.
Yeah.
And he was funny. Wow. Yeah. Sorry, Locke.
The thing is, as well, when you're successful, right? And you have other people around you trying to tell you what it is that you should be doing or shouldn't be doing, or drink this, or you should be working out, or fuck, you should be in these clothes, and and what's your Q score, and Like, honestly, man, I think it makes it even more difficult if you have any sort of tendencies towards sobriety, because or tendencies towards addiction. If you have an addictive personality, I think it makes it even more difficult. Not that I'm giving a pass to anybody with fame or money or success or anything like that, but I mean, all it does is just take your eye off the ball about what the real issues are. And I think that's what happened to Matthew Perry. I mean, he was fucking brilliant on Friends. He was funny.
Yeah. And the other side of that coin,
a huge audience in that shouldn't have been watching that fucking show because he was so funny, right? Anyway, sorry, Linz.
No, I was just going to say the other side of that coin is when you are in that position, like of fame and notoriety, is the yes men that are around you telling you everything's fine. No, you're fine. Don't worry about it. No, are you kidding?
Have a smoothie. We'll put spinach in it.
Yeah. Fuck, you're okay. You know what? No, let's just have a good time. And then it's that culmination of, I think you're right. You have the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other, and then you end up spending $9 million in a rehab and having nothing happen. So end up in an ER with a ruptured colon.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough. I never had to go to rehab. It was just like I just ran towards like professionals. That's all I did. I ran psychiatrists, counselors, addiction specialists, AA, all that stuff. And all of it worked, like that. Yeah. I think anybody who's unhappy, if they want to run towards help, they will, right? If they know that they've got kids, they've got life,
You can't drive them to the store though.
No.
But
and it just doesn't fucking work.
That's the incredible part. Is that case in point, I was at an intervention like 2 weeks ago. I go to these sometimes. People call me like, "Can you help me?" I'm like, "Does he want help?" That's the first question I ask. Mm-hmm. Like, does he want help? Yeah. None of them want help. When you go to an intervention, you're there because none of them want help. It's like, fuck, okay, well, I'll show up because
it's the whole purpose of an intervention. Just sit the asshole down because he's not listening.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that's the shot. Usually, the shot across the bow at first, right? Like that's usually the first shot across.
Yeah, if it's a young kid, a young teenager, young adult. If it's like a 48-year-old guy, and the wife's like, "Can you come talk to him?" Like, does he want to quit drinking? The answer's like, she says no. I say, then no.
What's the point?
And you got to let them go too. Like you've got to allow those people to be exactly who they are.
You might be part of the problem.
Totally. Like if some total asshole spouse says to the other spouse who drinks because that spouse is an asshole, and they're like, "If you don't quit drinking, I'm leaving." It's like, well, fuck. Toss coin.
Winner, chicken dinner.
In truth, I'll tell you that's why
he's
broke
drinking.
up with my girlfriend is because I quit drinking. I'm like, oh my God, I'm still miserable.
Guess why he's in the garage every night for an hour.
Yeah, funny how that didn't fix it. You're still here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now you're gone. Everything's good.
That's fascinating, isn't it? How that shit works.
Crazy.
Hey, real quick, emergency act hearing. I wanted to drop this on everybody today. Is anybody watching this out west? Probably not. Everybody's like tuned right out.
No one's.
The convoy people are losing desperately. Like it's
no
fucking joke
talking about this at all. It's
honestly, all people are talking about out here. It's fucking bizarre.
Yeah, really,
that we have different same
crazy.
Country out there. Everybody's like, what is this?
No one
out here. They're like,
what cares.
Yeah.
If you I literally would take me 4 days. It would take me 4 days to find somebody that even knew what this was happening. I bet I could leave my house right now and wander around.
Well, you know why? Because I'll tell you why. It's because the Alberta's for the convoy lawyers are from Alberta.
Yeah,
and they are fucking so bad. They are getting
players
their
are from
teeth kicked in on a day. Major players are from Alberta. And so everybody's like, let's talk about some other stuff for the next 6 weeks out in Alberta. Not here. They're like, hey, let's feed it to Alberta because everything seems to come from there. But the break yesterday, which was fascinating, is, and I'm going to play this for you. So the Emergency Act, of course, the Ottawa. What's that?
Keep going. No,
go ahead. You want to defend your home province?
Just deflecting.
Okay.
Not all of Alberta.
Pat King, Alberta. Chris Barber, Saskatchewan. Tammy Lish, Alberta. Daniel Smith. Hello. What's up?
Kevin Johnson.
Kevin J. Johnson.
She was like Chris the first day in like 2 weeks. She hasn't been in the news.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to
be
crazier than she's already been.
I told Grant the news is running out of QAnon.
Yeah, the reporters are running out of old stories to dredge up because there's so many. They're just flooding the zone with articles from 2014 of her endorsing the World Economic Forum, by the way, getting mad at the NDP for not embracing the World Economic Forum
because they're awesome.
When the NDP showed a little bit of, hey, who are you guys? What's going on? She was like, how dare you question them? And now she says they're exactly what's killing the entire planet because that's what the believers think. So
anyway, I'm sure her name is going to come up in the Emergency Act stuff, but I do want to kind of go over the Emergency Act bombshell from yesterday. So Alberta on the mat. Everybody's having a laugh. The convoy lawyers are fucking the dog. Like it's hilarious to watch. Yeah. But the real story here is there, and it's a narrative that's coming out with receipts that members of the Ottawa Police Service, certain members of the Ottawa Police Service, were fucking stoked to have guys there. They wanted the convoy in town. Specifically, a dude named Chris Keys, who is the intelligence liaison for Ottawa Police Services, like the head intelligence guy, who is a huge fucking Rex Murphy guy. He fucking hates vaccines. He's got on his LinkedIn profile the thin blue line as a like a thing, like there it is. There's Chris Keys, and he comments.
Hold on, I don't know what that is. That's
like that's the police version of fuck you to everybody on the left. That's what cops wear to show everybody when they go somewhere. Some of them have patches, these thin blue line patches. Like, what's her dump? Krista Ford. What's her dump? Krista Ford's husband, H Train.
He had
H Train.
Yeah, big fan of this whole thing. He was like,
it used to signify the thin blue veil of like between the brotherhood of the police, and even they would use it when an officer was killed in the line of duty. Right. But it has evolved into this weird ideology that follows this alt-right bullshit that we're listening to now, and this proves it. Like,
yeah. So this guy's like in charge of intelligence for OPS, and he's like, when you see teachers, the most vile of the left Marxist set who admit to trying to indoctrinate as many people as possible.
Angry at teachers
with the Marx? Because this guy's a fucking loser. Chris Keys from the Ottawa Police Service is a fucking anti-vax, anti-science loser is what he is. He's since deleted all this and his LinkedIn profile because he's in so much trouble. But this guy authored a report, and I've got it here for you. This is the report that he authored as part of the intelligence kind of back to the Ottawa Police Service. And it's like a fucking love letter to Rex Murphy and a love letter to the convoy and a love letter to anybody, where he's talking about how a true protest, this is a true protest, one that's grounded in actual circumstances. It arises from long-term government overreach. It emerges from discontent, long discounted and ignored, built around the cardinal idea of pursuing a legitimate livelihood. That's rare. That's what we're seeing with the truckers. He said, and then he called the protest and the convoy, said that it appears to be a sort of protest. As a result, the daily reports from the OPP that show the convoy is steadily and continually attracting support. Multiple daily reports are needed. He really likes these guys to the point where he talks about expecting very large crowds. Everything's fine. They're in town just paying for food and lodging. And at the end, and this is the summation that kills me, as part of his intelligence gathering, he cites an article he read in the National Post from alt-right fucking Yoda, Rex Murphy, where he said there appears to be sources, a powerful manifestation of deep discontent with how people feel they're being governed. Disconnect with authority may slumber for a long time. As per pundit Rex Murphy, resentment over the hypocrisies of officials and politicians can daily wear at the patience of citizens. When it's finally met with with a successful protest to air the grievances, there may be larger crowds and longer disruptions than was ever planned for. Almost like this guy is saying, you know what? What Rex Murphy said is true. These are citizens. They're tired of overreach. This is intelligence that could have, this guy basically fed a total lie, like an editorialized anti-vax lie, back to Ottawa Police Services, which handicapped them during the whole fucking thing, where they're like, I thought these guys were nice. They're like, Chris Keys' intelligence said these guys were nice, and they're just here because they're voicing their opinion. It's all grassroots. All of it a lie, because the fucking intelligence fucking guy from the Ottawa Police Service is one of them. Like,
he's quoting Rex
one
Murphy.
Of them. And he's using Rex Murphy and his intelligence. It's a fucking alt-right newspaper guy who the week before that was at a fucking fundraiser for Tammy Lish.
That's
$200 a plate fundraiser, cheering her on, talking about how great she was and how great the convoy is.
Rex was the guy that presented her with the Freedom Award at the event that she breached her bail conditions at. That's who presented the award, was Rex Murphy, and this is who the Ottawa Police.
His newspaper writing as a manifestation to tell Ottawa Police Service how he really felt about the convoy and why they should be allowed to be there. On top of it,
the difficult part about this for me has always been that there's always sort of an element. They hang their hats on an element of truth with respect to what everyone's dealing with, right? And then it's just how far down the rabbit hole each one goes. So
Chris Keys is the rabbit hole, dude.
Yeah, so he is the rabbit hole, but that's why it makes it so complicated when you're looking at this, because there are elements of what we all went through that I think everybody would agree that were mismanaged. I'm not talking about what happened in Ottawa. I'm not talking about the convoy. I'm 100%. Talking about how the government handled things, the timelines. There should have been a review of that. And instead we got a review of the culmination of the people that get the maddest about those types of things.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I have difficulty when we have these discussions, because I'm sympathetic to a point with some of the with some of the points. Right. But there's a point where you stop and go, all right, I'll put the fucking paper mask on. It probably isn't going to fucking do shit. I'll do it because it needs to happen. Like, we all need to be on the same page. I'll do this.
In the last week, did you become an anti-vaxxer?
No, I'm not. Listen, I got vaccinated. My wife and I are going to get another booster.
Did you become an anti? Good for you. Congratulations. Did you become an anti-masker in the last 2 weeks? Actually, you've never been a huge fan of the mask either, to be honest.
The mask in combination with wash your hands, do this, do that. I understood. I could wrap my head around it. But I was pretty certain that the mask that my wife made for me at the kitchen table from the cloth that was in our basement for 17 years was not going to save my life from an unknown virus. Right? That was the one I was thinking. For my old pair of underwear. I was pretty certain that wasn't going to save my life or everyone else's life.
Right.
I get it. It does have a minimal impact, and that minimal impact may have been enough to have an impact on the overall spread of it. I get it. Mm-hmm. But I'm also sympathetic when somebody goes,
it's called being a good citizen.
What is this doing? You know what I mean? Like, why are we all wearing this? Really? A paper mask
for yourself and others.
Save me from an airborne virus?
Yeah, because it's airborne. Yes. Yeah. Well, not save you, but it'll offer you a level of protection of it that wouldn't normally be there, and offer everybody else a level of protection for you if you indeed are sick as well.
I understand, but I also understand I'm using the mask because it's a simpler conversation than anything else.
I get what Locke is saying, because like when I was in the hospital, I showed up wearing an N95 respirator mask, and they made me take that off to put a blue surgical mask on because it was part of their policy. So I understand what Locke's talking about here. That's absolutely. But at the same time, I'm not
enough to understand the disparity of both of those things are ridiculous, right? Like, but you do it anyway because you're like, I don't give a fuck, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Whatever,
I put the blue one over my N95 is what I did. Yeah. And but I also didn't stand in front of the ER while my lungs were clotting with blood clots, screaming freedom and dying in the driveway for a point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So on the libs.
Yeah. On the libs. I owned you. Fuck you, Trudeau, as I'm choking on my own lung butter. Yeah. So I totally get it.
That's what's interesting about this is that the division is just going to continue.
But keep in mind that the reason why those cocks and they were cocks and they still are cocks. Anybody that went there and acted like a cock is a cock. They went there at the perfect time because Ottawa Police Service, rife with losers too, because it's the Ottawa Valley and a bunch of religious rednecks are in that service as well. And yes, I fucking mean it. And yes, Chris Keys is one of them. But it's almost like, you know, when you're case in point, let's say we're all cops, all three of us, Keystone, to be honest with you, we're Keystone cops, and we're in Keystone, Alabama, or wherever it is, and it's like there's going to be a riot, and it's like you should tell all the other cops in Keystone, and you're like, you know what, great idea. I'm going to email Ryan because he's a Keystone cop, and Lachlan. I'm going to CC them on what's going on here because there's going to be a riot, and then the riot lasts for 3 weeks. Locke, right? Let's just pretend the riot lasts for 3 weeks. And during that riot, another group authority has to come in and they need to help out because ineffectual, there's nothing going on. You haven't done anything for 3 weeks. Well, that is the next clip I want to play. And it's real quick. And then we're going to fucking ham it up and then we're going to be done. This is a clip from CBC and it is a fucking unbelievable clip. It's where a guy named Ottawa Police Service Superintendent Robert Bernier, who had maintained during his testifying in front of this inquiry that Ottawa police had a plan with tow truck drivers. Remember this part? To move all the trucks. Remember that?
And some of the companies wouldn't
Wouldn't do it because they were getting threatened by convoy organizers, convoy people, general losers saying, and trucking companies saying, we're not going to give you our tow truck business if you tow any of these trucks. It literally was fucking psyops. It was hilarious. But talks broke down, and the only way trucks could get out of Ottawa, or tow trucks would actually was to force them with an order from the federal government, because they refused to work with OPS. They refused to work with OPP. They refused to move any trucks. And all the conversations they were having about getting OPP, OPS to have the tow trucks remove these trucks, hundreds of them downtown, which had brought the city to a fucking standstill over a month-long period. The only way that they would do it is if the government forced them to. So that afternoon, talks broke down. The Emergency Act was triggered to move the tow trucks, which was the beginning of it, meaning that none of this is possible without the Emergency Act, because in no way was there a plan for any police service to move those tow trucks, because they couldn't do it and wouldn't do it. The tow trucks drivers wouldn't do it. OPS wouldn't do it. OPP wouldn't do it. And if they didn't have the Emergency Act, then they wouldn't have moved them. Case in point, here's the clip. And when you see guys on CBC,
an even bigger problem,
laughing, what's
the OPP?
Oh,
the fact that
absolutely,
that private citizens are refusing to listen to the head of the police for Ontario. Oh, that's not just one bigger fucking issue.
Both, because they were afraid of the convoy, and so they needed the Emergency Act to trigger it. Here's a clip where the lawyer actually informs Robert Bernier about an email that is in his email address and his email account, and he's attached to, that he's apparently never read before. This is fucking awesome to watch.
Tow trucks were used to remove vehicles that were blocking streets. And David, there was a little bit of a twist, right, at the inquiry about how police got them to cooperate. That's right. I said a minute ago that Superintendent Bernier said that the OPP had lined up tow trucks without the use of the Emergency Act. We've been hearing this from police testimony and police public comments and at other committees leading up to this. Well, a twist today when Bernier was confronted, in a polite way, by Government of Canada lawyers in cross-examination saying, did you know that your tow truck plant actually fell apart and it was only the Emergency Act that allowed that to happen? This is that moment in testimony.
And you mentioned that there were 34 tow trucks that were found and were available for your use, correct? And I assume from your testimony that you then weren't later informed that many of those fell through, and that in fact Mr. Richardson was not able to obtain the services of any tow truck companies without the use of the Emergencies Act?
I was not informed of that.
Pretty convenient.
Dean, you okay?
I didn't know. Your email, it's on your email address. It's like, I didn't know. No idea. It's like, are you aware that there were no tow trucks? The guy's like, no idea. That guy was in charge of it. It's Robert Bernier. He was in charge of getting tow trucks, and he had no idea there were no tow trucks. Like, that's fucking collusion. That is it's a police service that doesn't talk, that doesn't communicate, that is ripped apart with different cultures, that doesn't give a fuck about each other, that doesn't give a fuck about its city. If there is some big takeaway that I think a lot of people should be taking away from this now over the last 2 weeks, is that we have a police state issue in this province. We absolutely do. And not only do we have a police state issue, but the Ottawa Police Service is without question compromised by fucking absolute hillbillies who don't give a shit about the people they're supposed to be policing.
Didn't a lot of them get fired?
No, none of them.
No, just the chief resigned. Only the chief.
Quit because that's what he was dealing
I thought
with.
there was a bit of a restructuring that
so
happened.
Well, they brought in a new police chief like the day before municipal elections, and then the whole police board fucked off because it's so crooked up there. It is literally. And you hear these stories, and I've heard them for years about Ottawa police being racist, being heavy-handed, being assholes, being like the Central Park police from fucking Home Alone. Like, I've heard it, I've seen it. We saw this Asian woman doing Tai Bo in the fucking park this summer, and she had like the stick with her, and she got tackled by an Ottawa cop who thought it was a sword. I mean, that was one of the great stories of the summer. But literally, what this is turning into is the idea that the Trudeau government needed the Emergency Act to deal with local police, not even the fucking convoy. It was dealing with local police. So the Emergency Act was triggered,
or their lack of ability to handle an extreme situation.
Their lack of initiative. Their lack of initiative to actually do it. Yeah. And that's what they say. The biggest problem at this point that they're finding out is that they're calling it confusion. That sounds like collusion between the superintendents and the inspectors and the brass, because some of the brass were pro convoy, some of the brass were not. These mixed messages were happening, and I swear that's why I slowly quit, because slowly they're saying that there was points in this where he was becoming involved in things that police chiefs would normally not become involved in operations. And that's when they realize that when the chief is going, guys, what the fuck are you doing? I gave you these jobs to do the job, and the job's not getting done. And he's there every day going, why isn't it happening? What's going on? He looks incompetent, even though normally, by normal order of operations, police chiefs don't get involved in operations.
Yeah,
they're literally a figurehead of and they're the conduit between city council and the rank and file. So we're learning a lot about the Ottawa police in this.
But I thought we knew all this.
No,
I thought we knew all this.
No, we thought it.
Yeah. You know how you watch cops in Ottawa stand by, not do anything? It was Karima's biggest problem. She's like, it's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
The guys walking around taking a piss, taking a shit, pushing each other. And the police are walking around high-fiving them, taking pictures with them. Selfies. Guess what? A lot of those guys really like the idea that the convoy was in town because they identified with what the intelligence officer from the OPS services, this guy Chris Keys, identified with. He was like, he called them left-wing losers in his report. They're just like every other organization where they have the same kinds of people. And combine that with the fact that they're apparently incompetent, don't do a good job, never talk to each other. Combine that with the fact you've got some fucking weirdo Ottawa redneck hillbillies in there. Combine it with the fact that they just don't have the tools to be able to deal with those many people. It's a recipe for fucking failure, which is what we saw, right? Like, that's
day after day.
Everybody's pointing at Ottawa police.
Politically,
and the other part of this, go ahead. Sorry.
Politically, the thing that it always struck me as odd was because Justin Trudeau is not this kind of leader, right? Like this was a ballsy move, and he's not a ballsy leader. And it surprised me when he pulled this, because it just seems like a lot of people with his type of leadership, his disposition, where, you got a lot of people looking at numbers and polls. Oh, okay. Do 55% of the people agree with this? Okay, then I'm going to agree with it. Like, he doesn't seem like the guy that's going to pull the strings on an Emergencies Act. So the fact that it happened was very, very surprising to me. Is that
well, they've carved out 6 weeks for this process, right? And we're only 2 weeks in. The best is yet to come. Like we haven't.
Did you see Fordsy got a subpoena the other day? They're like, you better come in. Locke and I were talking about it because you were off eating cheese or something.
Sorry, no.
Fordy's like, he's like, I was never asked to go. I don't know what anybody's talking about. No big deal. And then 2 days later, it's like, oh yeah, we asked you like 1,000 times and you said no. Now we're requiring you by law to do it. So what has he done? Great question. He's using the Parliamentary Privilege Act, which, can I tell you something about it? I read about it last night.
Yeah.
This is just off the top of my head because I'm a savant. Don't worry about it. Not everybody has this. Okay.
No big.
Don't worry about it.
No big.
Parliamentary Privilege Act was created in 1844 by the then government of Ontario, so that the Upper House Senate of England, which still at that time, colonial values, still at that time, owned Canada. And so parliamentary privilege was invented back then so that the English couldn't meddle, couldn't charge anybody with sedition of the crown, and couldn't take people out so they could put their own government in. This is literally a 200-year-old law, 180 years old, and no one uses it ever. And the only reason why it was used is to protect Canadian politicians trying to set up a legitimate government in Canada from the English, who wanted to continue to meddle in the affairs of this country that was trying to become its own country at the time. So what Doug Ford is doing is enacting a feudal law from 1844, which no one uses. And so he doesn't have to go. And his whole excuse is like, hey, listen, And it's in the papers, like, because they filed with the courts. They said, we don't want to go. We want you to stay the motion. Forget about it. And the reason why he's like, if we talk, it'll do irreparable damage and it'll take us away from our jobs for the people of Ontario. Now, that's an interesting thing, too, because that fuck worked 16 days last year in the province of Ontario. So I don't know what he's so fucking busy doing.
The day after he pulled it, he didn't show up at Queen's Park. Him and the minister at the time, who was the attorney general, Sylvia Jones, they didn't show up for work to question period because they knew that they would have got questioned immediately. But they're using the excuse that we can't leave because Parliament is sitting.
Too important.
And then they don't show up for fucking work. It's so blatant. It's so fucking
Isn't that great?
brutal.
Yeah,
he is such a tool.
Oh fuck. He's the biggest pussy
at least
I have
Danielle
ever met in my
Smith,
life.
at least she's funny.
Yeah.
You guys, he's not funny. He's just
and he's a coward too. Like, I give Danielle Smith because she says all the crazy stuff like in a microphone.
Oh, loud.
Yeah. That's why I like her. Because she, like, I've said this. I said this the other day on the pod, I think, or it might have been the show. It doesn't matter. I was talking about the fact that the people that elect you now in your party, that give you you go, girl, you're running us because we like what you have to say. They're all extremists now on both sides, the left and the right. Okay.
Yeah.
So what politicians do that end up running parties is they spend a lot of time pandering to that extremist point of view in their party, whether it's liberal, whether it's NDP, whether it's conservative, it doesn't matter. They pander to those people because those are the people that extremists get attracted to fucking politics now. We've done it to ourselves. It's the state of democracy in the free world.
Yeah.
So when they get in power, then they go, okay, they're usually smart enough to realize that that's a pretty small minority of the people that actually vote.
Yeah.
That are actually going to give me the power. I've got the head seat now. Now I need to shift gears. And you see it all the time down in the States. You see it all the time where somebody
literally a strategy. It is a strategy. Just so you know, it's like an actual strategy.
Yes, they say something extreme to get the go ahead to run the party, and then they pull back on all of the things that they said to get that vote, to get that seat. She's done none of that. You have to respect that.
She keeps going.
If anything, she's doubled down.
She didn't get the memo on part 2. And well, she's not even in. She wasn't voted into anything yet. I think that's why. I think she hasn't actually.
The party didn't even have a seat.
Like, she was canvassing in the wrong neighborhood too. The other day, she was actually out canvassing in a riding that doesn't. She doesn't.
Because somebody offered her free breakfast.
Ivermectin.
Free tube of ivermectin. Come on over for ivermectin crackers. Danielle Smith's like, oh, okay, that sounds great. Anyway, fascinating. Something. Great show today. That was a lot of fun. Thanks for the cheese expose today, Ryan. We're going to be putting something together. I want to thank our friend
Afrim. Those cheese guys.
No, you have to, dude. I trust him more than I trust you now after seeing his operation. That guy takes care of Ben Affleck's cheese, by the way.
Yep. And Meghan Markle. He had a Meghan Markle wheel in there too.
He had Meghan Markle's cheese in there. He had a princess's cheese in his cheese vault. Batman and a princess. Fuck you. I trust him already way more than I trust you.
All right, boys.
See you, buddy. Lock and Cross 957 Cruise FM. A lot of problems.
Yeah, we did.
At Lock and Cross on Twitter, 957 cruisefm.ca. If you want to listen, there you go. He's still got a bunch of
so much cheese.
Ryan Lindley at Ryan Lindley. You can get him on Twitter. Also, make sure you download his podcast. It's called The Lind's Report. It's real good. Thanks, boys. Great to see you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Oh, no, we won't. Locke, you're not going to be here tomorrow. He's moving again.
Again?
That's what he said.
The saga.
In the group chat. By the way, I'm just going to say this out loud for everybody paying attention to this program today. Group chats are the devil. I fucking hate group chats. I'm taking myself out of every group chat except ours. I hate them.
Yeah.
I can't stand them. It's like, everybody's having these big conversations like this week. You guys all having this big conversation. I'm out for a few hours. I come back. Everybody's making fun of me because I haven't responded because I have a life. And I'm like, no, I'm out. I'm out of the group chat. I don't want to have anything to do with group chats anymore. The world is a worse place because of group chats.
Group chats. Okay. I could get down with that. Ours, we get added to a lot. I notice. Like when somebody sees something, people think that we don't follow people on Twitter, I think, and they send us certain things, right? And it's a whole handful. And I know they don't realize that they're one of dozens that do it to us. So when we don't reply, it's not because it's like, oh, fuck you. It's literally, I've got so many unread group chat messages for like bullshit Doug Ford said or Danielle Smith, like anything that's current. It's like, we watch the news and we have Twitter too. We're good. Thanks. You know? I don't know how to politely say it though. I don't want to be a dickhead, but at the same time, it's like I'm just not.
Just be a dickhead. A lot of people say that. I was like, I don't want to say this. Go be a dickhead. No, just fucking wear it.
Stop DMing us.
See what happens. Yeah, enough of the DMs. Enough of the group chats. No one wants to be included in like, oh, is it my turn to respond? Is it your turn to respond? Do I have to? Because you know what? I don't even use emojis anymore. Because that was my out in like text. It was like when I wanted a conversation to be over, it was like thumbs up or a smiley face or a wavy hand, right? Or like one of these prayer hands. It's like one of those things. And now I read this new report last week. It's like millennials don't use emojis because they're offended by them now. They find they find them to be too sarcastic. They get offended and triggered by emojis. Millennials, Gen X's, millennials. No word of a lie. I'm like, I just started getting good with these and using them to end conversations I hated. Now all of a sudden, everybody's offended by them. I'm out.
I can't keep up anymore.
I'm out.
We went back in time today. I'd like to stay there where we were today.
50s cheese vault.
People just walking up and down the street enjoying the day. Nobody had a phone in their hand today. No, it was fucking
people smiling,
awesome.
Drinking coffee, walking around with cheese wheels like an assembly line. People cutting things. People doing work. No one's on their phone. No one's in a group chat going, why won't he respond? Why won't they respond? I'll tell you why I'm not responding, because group chats suck.
And I'm eating cheese.
Attaboy. Talk to you soon. Ryan Lindley, Lynn's Report, Sheeple Shepherd at Ryan Lindley on Twitter is where you can get him as well. I need to shave. Turn on some lights here too. Anyway, thanks everybody. Appreciate you being here. Don't forget, you can get everything we do at deanblundell.com. Also, you can sign up for a newsletter there. Really appreciate it if you could do that. Would be very appreciative if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Dean Blundell Show on YouTube, Dean Blundell TV on Twitch. And leave a little thumbs up, like a little, hey, thanks. Leave a little nice review if you can. Nice comment. Even if you want to leave a shitty comment, I'm easy. Whatever. But everything helps. Really appreciate it. You can get all of our stuff too. Audio-wise, Google, Spotify, Apple, etc. And again, leave a review, rate. That would be a lovely thing if you could do that for us as well. And don't forget our sponsors that make everything possible, including Kivlaw.ca if you're looking for a great defense attorney. These guys are great. Rob Kivlikin is the principal over at Kivlaw Defense Lawyers. Kivlaw.ca does everything legal that you need help with. It always scares people. The second you get, did we get sued this week? Well, not sued. We had some fucking loser tell us he was going to sue us. And then we sent him back saying, let's go. And then he kind of disappeared. But whatever. But it still sends a little shiver down your spine. And the first person you go to is a guy like Rob Kivlikin. Rob is one of those guys that walks you through the process, holds your hands while you do it, make sure that you're taken care of. And not only that, he helps you do the right thing, and his group are incredible. So if you're on the other side of a legal issue and you need to get on this side of it and you want to protect your freedom, Kivlaw.ca, Robert at Kivlaw.ca. Make sure you email him today. Also, Ed at Ed's Fine Imports. He's our guy. You need to be your guy, too, for Gitch. He's my Gitch guy. Everybody needs a Gitch guy. GITCH3 is your promo code. Gitch, underwear, boxer briefs, pouch in the front. Everything has got its place. Everything's got a cubby. It's like an organizational drawer for your genitals is what it is. And the most comfortable underwear you'll ever, guaranteed the most comfortable. And if they're not, let me know and I'll pay for your Gitch. I'll reimburse you myself. But what you can do is go and try them and see for yourself. They're engineered for guys running around in the office, not doing much. They're all purpose, but they're the most comfortable underwear you'll ever wear. Luxury boxer briefs, edsfineimports.com. Gitch3 is your promo code. Make sure you use it when you check out. I'll send you a free pair if you buy 3 or more. And last but not least, Easy Auto Financial. These folks get you into a car. They're financing geniuses, experts. Doesn't matter what your credit rating looks like. They will take care of everything. There is no obligation. Buying a car is a pain in the ass, depending on your credit rating. And sometimes it makes you sweat a little bit too. Sit back. Let EasyAutoFinancial.ca do everything for you, from getting you financing for free to finding the car that you want to setting you up with the salesperson at the other end with your financing, so you could walk in, get in your car, drive away. That's what they do. Go to easyautofinancial.ca today. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow, right around, I'm going to say 5. 4. I think it's 4 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah, 4 o'clock Friday. Have a great day. See you then. Bye.